turn time into pleasure. This, I suppose you would call it, as I will, especially if I spend too much time in it in one stretch, guilty pleasure of going through old photographs of mine online, correcting the dates, the locations, tagging the people I know in each photograph, and even the lives of my forebears from as far back as I have such photographs. And that's pretty far back, as I have some family photos that date back to the mid-1800s. Essentially, piecing together a life, my past, what got me here, or rendering somewhat outside of myself of who I am. I say guilty pleasure because I can get lost in the task, and in doing so ignore the hours of an entire day or so, the things I surely need to be doing, things much more important than this habit I have. It's a useful habit, though. It's quite practical, at least for me. I write to remember, as I always say, for the same reason I generally take photograph. Because I've always seemed to have trouble remembering in whatever way or ways it is most people do. I imagine that there are 6 or 7 ways people generally remember things. And whatever my way of remembering is, it seems unfamiliar or rare, at least when I try to compare it with others' methods, which becomes clear when I attempt to discuss memory with other people. These photos, I might add, as a reminder, in the words I've slammed together over the years I have saved, just like the photographs, they are all I have left of the first 50 years of my physical life. I lost everything in one of those ordinary, almost cliche, yet tortured ways people often do, it seems. Standing at the sidelines, watching it all disappear, so to speak. In a resigned, exhausted, helpless way, the loss of these things, this physical stuff, is not just for me a hard loss, except when I think of the shelves filled with familiar books that always stood stacked like walls around me, and only then sometimes. Especially since I had the forethought to begin at an early time cataloging these pieces of me and my life and the life of those around me, including pretty much hoarding every random photo I've ever taken as electronic files. Going to the trouble of scanning all of my photos from before a certain time period, making all of those electronic as well. The files, which I now spend maybe too much time getting lost within, cataloging, tagging, dating as a way to piece together a life so that I may better understand who I am. And despite or through it all, this life, these pictures are there, representing where I've been, from whence I came, act not as a reference to a place or a time I yearn to go back to, although they do fill me with such a warm and pleasant nostalgia, but mostly they continually teach me about myself. Each time I sit with them, it seems I learn something uniquely new to add to the collage of my idea uniquely new of who I am. They don't answer all those questions, but they give me enough to know which way I should aim, which direction my legs might take me next in order to build in the most appropriate way upon what I have become, who I am, what I've learned about who I am, and the things most important to me. So here's to guilty pleasures, I suppose, and perhaps curtailing my time spent with these pieces of my past so that I might build more and better using what I am at present. Because becoming who I might best be, who I can be, during the finite but luxurious stretch of time that I have been allotted.